In the middle of the cornfield, the plow hit something. Wood. Buried. When Jacob Mercer finished digging, what he saw froze his blood. A coffin. But this was no ordinary coffin, because from inside came the sound of scratching nails, and a woman whispered, "Please, bury me again." Jacob Mercer was a rancher who lived alone in Red Valley. He was 40 years old but looked 45. The war had aged him. His wife Sarah had died 3 years ago during childbirth. The baby hadn't survived either. Since that day, Jacob had lived alone. He had no one to talk to, only his land and his cornfield. That morning, spring was coming. Jacob was plowing the soil for new planting. Horses pulled the plow. The earth turned over. Everything was normal, until the plow hit something in the middle of his field, a metallic sound, then a crack. The horses stopped. Jacob dismounted. He looked at the ground. Something was visible. Wood. Old, rotted, but still solid. Jacob crouched down. He cleared the soil with his hand, and he saw it. A coffin lid. His heart raced. Why was there a coffin in the middle of his field? This wasn't a graveyard. This was farmable land. Jacob took his pickaxe and shovel. He began to dig. The soil was soft, as if it had been dug recently. An hour later, he had completely uncovered the coffin. A small coffin, simple, unadorned. There was no writing on it. Jacob pressed his ear to the lid, and he heard it. A sound, faint, the sound of nails scratching on the wood, and then a whisper, hoarse, broken, but a human voice. "Please bury me again." Jacob froze. This couldn't be possible. Was someone alive inside? "Who's in there?" Jacob shouted. "You should go," the voice whispered. "If you find me, he'll find you." Jacob's hands trembled, but he couldn't stop. He took his crowbar. He forced the coffin lid. Nails came out. The lid opened, and inside there was a woman, young, 25, 26 years old, long black hair, brown skin, Apache. Her face was covered in dirt. Her hands were bleeding. Her nails were broken. Her eyes were half open. Her lips were cracked. She was breathing, but with difficulty. Jacob stepped back. "My God!" The woman looked at him. There was fear in her eyes. "Why? Did you open it?" she whispered. "To save you." "No," the woman said. "Now. We're both dead." And she fainted. Jacob pulled the woman from the coffin. She was light, very light, as if nothing remained but bones. He placed her on the horse. He took her home. In his cabin, he laid the woman on his bed. He cleaned her face with water. He moistened her lips. He applied salve to her hands. The woman was unconscious but breathing. Jacob stepped back. What should he do? Who was this woman? Why had she been buried? And who had buried her? Evening came. Jacob sat by the fireplace. He watched the woman. She was still sleeping, but occasionally she moaned, and she whispered a name. "Marcus? No, Marcus." At midnight, the woman woke up, suddenly, screaming. Jacob rushed to her side. "Calm down. You're safe." The woman looked around. She saw the cabin. She saw Jacob, and she began to cry. No, why?" "Why did you take me out?" "Because you were dying." "Yes, but now you'll die too." The woman grabbed Jacob's arm. "When he finds out you found me, he'll come, and he'll kill you." Jacob held the woman's hands. "Who will come? Who buried you?" The woman shook her head. "My husband, Marcus Thorn." Jacob froze. Marcus Thorn, the richest man in town. He had a large ranch. He had cattle, and everyone in town feared him. "Marcus Thorn? He's your husband?" "Yes, and he wanted to kill me. But first, he wanted me to suffer. That's why he buried me alive." Jacob stepped back. "But why?" The woman closed her eyes. "Because I tried to escape." The woman's name was Aiyana. Marcus Thorn had bought her 3 years ago at a fair, from an Apache tribe. Her family had sold her because they were starving. Marcus had paid money, and Aiyana had become his wife. But Marcus was not a good husband. He was cruel, violent. He used Aiyana like a slave, and Aiyana couldn't take it anymore. She had tried to escape, but Marcus had caught her, and he wanted to punish her, not with death, with something worse, slow death. "He put me in a coffin," Aiyana explained. "He drilled air holes so I could breathe, but I couldn't get out. Then he..." Buried me in the field, not his own field, yours. Somewhere no one knew, so no one would search. How many days were you there? I don't know, 6 days maybe more. I lost track of time. There was only darkness and thirst and fear. Jacob nodded. But why did Marcus do this? Why didn't he just kill you? Aiyana looked at him. There was cold anger in her eyes. Because he doesn't love me. He hates me, and he wants what he hates to suffer. This is his game. Jacob stood up. So what do we do now? You'll take me back to Marcus. Jacob turned. What? Yes? Take me back to him. Maybe he'll forgive you. Maybe he won't kill you. No, I won't take you back to him. Then we'll both die. Jacob looked at the woman. There was despair in her eyes. But Jacob saw something else. The eyes of a warrior. Someone fighting to survive. No, Jacob said, we won't die. Neither of us. Because I'll protect you. Aiyana shook her head. You don't know him. He's a monster. Maybe. But I fought monsters in the war too, and I'm still alive. The next morning, Jacob went down to town to gather information. He talked to everyone who knew Marcus Thorn, and what he learned was terrifying. Marcus Thorn wasn't just rich, he was also dangerous. He had been married 3 times. All of them had disappeared. The first had died in an accident, the second had run away, the third was never found. And now Aiyana was also missing. Marcus had told the town that Aiyana had escaped, and no one was searching, because everyone knew that opposing Marcus meant inviting death. When Jacob returned home, Aiyana was stronger. She had eaten, she could stand, but she was still afraid. Marcus will come, she said. He buried me here, but he checks every day if he finds the coffin empty. He will, Jacob said, because I left the coffin open. Aiyana's face went pale. No. Yes, because I wanted to send him a message. We're not hiding anymore. We're not running. If he wants to find me, let him come. Aiyana shook her head. Are you crazy? He'll kill you. Maybe, but at least I'll die fighting, not buried like you. That night, Jacob prepared. He cleaned his rifle, loaded ammunition, sharpened his knife, locked the doors, nailed boards over the windows. Aiyana watched. You're really going to fight? Yes. Why? I'm just a stranger. I owe you nothing. Jacob looked at her. Because it's the right thing to do, and I haven't done the right thing in a long time. Maybe this is my second chance. Aiyana cried silently. No one has ever fought for me. Never. Now someone will. At midnight, sounds came. Horse sounds. Many horses. Jacob looked out the window. 5 men. Marcus Thorn at the front, tall, broad-shouldered, wearing a black coat. His face was cold and merciless. Marcus dismounted. He walked toward the cabin door, and he shouted, Jacob Mercer! I want my wife back. Jacob opened the door. He held his rifle. She's not your wife anymore. Marcus smiled. I bought her. She's my property. People aren't property. In the Wild West, everyone is property. You too. Her too. Jacob raised his rifle. If you take 1 step, I'll shoot you. Marcus shook his head. No, you won't shoot me. Because if you do, my men will kill you, and then the woman too. So what do you propose? Marcus pulled out a paper from his pocket. A deal. I take the woman back. You get $100, and no one dies. Jacob looked at the paper, then at Marcus. No. Marcus's face tightened. No? Yes, because she's a human being, and human beings can't be sold. Marcus shouted in anger. Then you'll die! And he signaled his men. Guns were drawn. But at that moment, a voice came from inside the cabin, Aiyana's voice, and she was speaking in Apache. Strange, rhythmic, powerful. Marcus froze. What is she saying? Jacob looked back. Aiyana was standing at the window. She held something in her hands. Papers, letters. Aiyana switched to English. These are your letters, Marcus. Letters you wrote to your first 2 wives, describing how you killed them, in detail. If these letters reach the marshal, you'll hang. Marcus's face went white. Where did you get those letters? From your desk. The secret drawer. Before you caught me, when I was escaping, I found them. I took them, but couldn't carry them. Because you caught me. But that night, when you were taking me to the field, I distracted you. For a moment. In that moment, I took them from my pocket and buried them in the ground. I had put them in a metal box before getting into the coffin, and when Jacob was digging, he found both me and that box. Marcus's hand clenched into a fist. You're bluffing. Aiyana threw a letter. The paper fell at Marcus's feet. Marcus picked it up, opened it, read it, and his face lost all color. This, your handwriting, Aiyana said, and your signature. If the federal marshal sees this, there won't even be a trial. Straight to execution. Marcus looked around. His men were watching him. They were looking at him differently now, because they knew Marcus was a murderer. Marcus nodded. Fine. Keep the woman, but give me those letters back. Jacob shook his head. No, the letters stay with me, as insurance. If anything happens to Aiyana, the letters go to the marshal. Marcus angrily mounted his horse. This isn't over, Mercer. Yes, Jacob said, it is. And Marcus disappeared into the night. 3 months later, spring had fully arrived. The cornfield had been replanted. But this time, Jacob wasn't alone. Aiyana was with him, working, planting vegetables in the garden. The first days had been difficult. Aiyana had nightmares. Every night she woke up screaming. But Jacob was there, calming her. And slowly, the nightmares faded. One evening, as the sun set, Jacob and Aiyana sat on the porch. Before them stretched the wide cornfield. Were you ever afraid to look at that field? Aiyana asked. At first I was afraid, Jacob said, but then I understood. That field brought you to me. Maybe it was fate. Aiyana smiled, for the first time in a long time. Fate? I don't believe in fate. Then what do you believe in? Choices. And you made the right choice. Jacob placed his hand on Aiyana's. So what will you do now? I don't know, but I know one thing. I'm not afraid of Marcus anymore, because you're with me. Jacob nodded, and I'll always be with you. That night the stars were bright, and the cornfield was no longer a grave. It was a beginning, the beginning where two broken souls found each other. 6 months later, fall had come. The corn had been harvested. Jacob and Aiyana were now married, with a small ceremony. The town priest had married them. Some neighbors had come. Marcus hadn't come, because he was no longer in town. The federal marshal had been searching for him, because of the letters, and Marcus had fled. But Jacob and Aiyana didn't care. They were free now. One evening, Aiyana showed Jacob something, a rug. She had woven it with her own hands. On it was a picture, a coffin, and a woman emerging from the coffin, and a man saving her. This is our story, Aiyana said. Jacob smiled. Yes, and it has a beautiful ending. Aiyana shook her head. No, not an ending, a beginning. And that night, sitting by the fire, they both knew. Life had given them pain, but now it was giving them another chance. In the Wild West, they say sometimes the darkest places hide the brightest lights. And sometimes, a woman buried in a field saves a man's life, because by saving her, he also saves himself. Thank you for being here. If this story stirred something in you, memories of old days, dusty evenings, and the sound of hooves, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. So every day we can meet again, and I'll tell you another story from the Wild West. What did this story make you feel? Let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed it, type 1. And don't forget to subscribe for the next gripping tale. I love you all. Listeners of Wild West Daily, stay healthy and happy.